Alright, this is the bonus video to show you how I make the structure for inside the TARDIS. You're going to need your plastic mesh, your tapestry needle, and the yarn that you want to use. It's going to be on the inside, so you can literally do any color that you want. I'm just going to keep going with the blue that I was using before. And of course you're going to need the parts and pieces of the TARDIS. So here's my base. Here's the top, and I've already added the signs to it. And then the walls. Okay, and you're also going to need some way to measure, and I have a ruler on hand, so that I can measure how big each panel needs to be. So we're going to put aside the first, the top and the bottom. We don't actually need them just yet. The bottom one we're actually not going to need at all. But we need to measure this guy. So I'm going to measure my first door, and it's 2 centimeters. And my second door is slightly bigger than that at 2.5 almost. 2.5 centimeters, that is. You can measure it in inches if you prefer. Centimeters just seem a little bit clearer to me. So you're gonna make for the basic structure, it's going to be a rectangular prism, except it's going to have 2 pieces where the door is, and then the full pieces for the side walls and the back wall, and then a square for the bottom and a square for the top, the very top, or the top of the TARDIS. And then we're going to make another structure and attach them together, that will help keep this pyramid sort of form at the top. So the to make the doors, now you see I've already been using this. I actually used the same mesh to make this guy. You can measure this way. Just make sure you take into account that if you've already cut it once, that you're taking into account that you're going to cut these little nubs off. And the first door is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares. Okay. You're going to measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that puts us right there. And I like to make a little tick by cutting that first one, and you can get rid of that one if it's in your way, which I'll go ahead and clean it up. Just a note, don't use your good scissors on this. This stuff will dull a good pair of scissors so easily. Happens very easily. Okay, and then we need to know how long this is, and this measurement's going to be the same for the whole piece. And for this one, it's 7 centimeters. So starting from here, where I've got my little tick mark, I need to measure 7 centimeters, which puts us right there. Go ahead and snip that one, and then that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So 18 squares by 5 squares for that first door. And you just go ahead and cut right next to the little bar there. And this is what you'll have. So when you put it up against the door that you were measuring, you'll have that. And that actually seems slightly too long. Because you have to take into account all of these stitches thickness. But I'm going to go ahead and see once I get the other pieces cut out. So that's 5 for that one. Get the little pieces out of the way. Then so that fit the fatter of the two doors. If you'll remember, the fold kind of takes up some space there, so that fits the little one. And then we need to make one that's 1 row bigger for the bigger door. So it's still going to be 18, but in this case it's going to be 6 across instead of 5. So cut off the little nubs there, and we're going to go up to the since we already know that this is the right length, we're going to cut up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and we're going to cut this row right here. And just cut right along that final line there. And then you can cut off the little, I call them nubs, you can call it whatever you want. So we get a nice smooth, and that's going to fit our other door. And again, that is looking like it's too long. If you fold how it's going to fold on itself, you'll see if you've got the right width or not. And I've definitely got too long. They're definitely too long, so I'm going to cut one of them off. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 by 5 for that one, and 17 by 6 for the other one. And again, you're just going to have to double check. Just keep putting it in, double checking to make sure that what you measured is actually going to fit, because there is a thickness to that. And when you sew them together, you'll see what I mean. The thickness will take up a little bit of space, and this may not fit completely. So now we need to figure out what each of these panels is, and the easy way is to add the 2 doors together. So 6 plus 5 is 11. This measures 4 centimeters. So we'll go over here, like that, figure out which one is the 4. Same that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So if my math is good, just adding the 2 doors together will get you a side panel. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And then we're going to cut 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. And there's our first wall. The other two walls are actually the same size. So, if you look, when I bend at the right places, it seems like it's a little too wide. So, we'll just keep going and see how that turns out. You can actually use this piece to make the other two walls, to measure on the other two walls. Which is what I'm doing here. And I'll meet right back when I have those made. Alright, I've made my 4 pieces for the walls, or the, oh, sorry, 3 pieces for the walls, and the 4th is the door. And of course, like an idiot, I went ahead and cut a 4th one. I don't know what I was thinking. If you make this and you don't want the door to open, then you will need 4 and ignore the door. So the top of the structure, I don't know if you can see it in there, the top of the structure is a square, and so is the bottom, this bottom part of the structure. So just go ahead and cut a square. And you can actually save this. I don't know, you may want to use it as the windows like I did on this one. I'm going to be using recycled plastic from a package instead. So I've got one, and now I need to make the other, just as I've been doing. And you can save that piece as well. And now we have 2 squares for the top and the bottom, 3 sides, and the 2 doors. I'm going to have a tidy up and I'll be right back. Okay. So we've got all the pieces here. And now I just need to get some yarn and my tapestry needle. And just work with however much yarn is comfortable for you. You can always add in yarn at every stage. So there's really no reason to work with a piece that is super long, unless you want to. So now we need to put this thing together. And I usually like to do the 3 sides together first. Because I find that, I don't know why, I just find it easier. And I'm going to double check. By holding it up to this other TARDIS, I'm seeing that it's probably too wide. Because you put it in between here and the other ridge, and the other ridge, it's underneath. So you can see, so these are probably too big. And it's better to deal with that right now than to have to take this all apart and reshape it. That's just a nightmare. If I fold up my wall sections here and try to slip that in, it's not really fitting. So let's go ahead and take off a row off of each one of these. And this is how you're going to do if you use any other gauge. You're just like, this one is bigger than this guy, and that's just how you're going to have to do it, because I can't tell you what size you're going to need. I'm just going to show you how I measure and how I work it back and forth until I finally get the right size. Give you the tools on how to make it, and then let you try to figure out your correct size for your specific TARDIS. And then my door is going to be too big as well, so I'm going to take off one row from the bigger of the two, and I probably need to take off the second row, or take a row off the other one, so that the door can actually, you know, open properly. So now our door is still 17 this way, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 instead of 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's 10 by 17 instead of 11 by 17. And we need to fix the square too by taking off a row in this dimension and a row in this dimension. So we get 10. You can double check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 10. It's okay if you leave a little bit of a nub kind of on there, because that's actually going to grip into the yarn TARDIS, into the TARDIS, and actually help hold it where it needs to hold. Do the same for this one. Double check. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And to be honest with you, I showed you making to be too big. I already knew that this was 10 because I made one before, and this one and the new one are pretty much identical in size, but it's best to know, it's best to show you, so that you can see how to address it if it's too big. So hopefully that made sense. So now I'm ready to put this thing together, at least I think I am. I'm going to double check just one more time. I'm going to fold up my TARDIS and try to stick the side in. And that looks good to me. So now I'm ready to put the structure together. And like I said, I like to do the 2 walls first, or do the 3 walls first, and then the doors, then add the top and the bottom. I'm going to layer one wall on top of another, and insert my yarn needle, tapestry needle, into either end of the side. Doesn't matter which. And I'm going to leave a bit of a tail, and I'm going to actually work over that tail. So I'm going to go through the same 2 holes that I went through in the first place. Just like that. And I like to work my tail about the same length. That gives a little bit of beefiness to the structure. Makes it a little more rigid because you're going around, and actually gives it a little bit extra room so that we can open it up into a square without having trouble. So I went through the first one. Now it's just a simple whip stitch in each and every hole. A whip stitch is where you whip around and go through the next one, just like that. Cinch it down, and you'll see I'm working over that tail, trying to get that tail put on the top. I'm going to whip my yarn around again and go through the next set of holes. And I'm going to do that for every one. And you can do like I do. I'm doing here and hold it, kind of pinch it between your thumb and the wall, so it holds nice and tight while you actually do the stitch. Or you can just whip it around and not pinch it, not hold it at all. That's up to you. However is most comfortable is the best way for you to do it. And you'll see I'm doing that for every stitch. And once I get this one done, I'll meet you up at the end and show you how to finish it off. Alright, I'm on my last stitch. I'm going to go ahead and whip that around. And to make the beginning, or the end look like the beginning, I'm going to go and whip around that same stitch one more time. I know the structure is on the inside and you're not going to see these seams at all, but I find it good practice to always do the best job I can on everything, even if you don't ever see it. So now I need to finish it off. And to finish it off, you're just going to work your tapestry needle up through all those stitches. And if you need to, this is a good time to have a pair of pliers, which I don't have mine handy, I don't think. I don't see them. To help just get a hold of that needle. Just pull that yarn all the way down, and I'm actually going to keep going until I get out right there. Yes, that'll give the most even appearance. If you're making a TARDIS structure without doing the crochet part, but you're just stitching the mesh, you would want to make sure that this end is as neat in appearance as the rest of the work. So I definitely recommend doing it this way as a rule of thumb, than, you know, only doing one or two. So go ahead and fasten that off, cut it off, and now you have two sides put together. And you can actually wiggle this, and it will form that nice 90-degree both of four. So now I'm going to put the next wall on, and then I'm going to add a door to either side, so this side and this side, so that when I'm done I'll have the four sides done, and I'll meet right back when I get those done and I'm ready to add the top and the bottom. Alright, I finished putting together the three sides and the two doors, and you probably were thinking, hey, Nerdy Creations, this is crazy, your door is too big. And you're right. If I put them together, close them, it's actually the width of one of these vertical lines of the mesh too wide to match up with these three sides. It's just one vertical line too much, and I knew that. I expected this not to be able to close properly. It overlaps. just that little bit. So to combat that, I'm actually going to trim off one row. Now you could just trim off this one line, but that's going to leave little nubs that are going to stick out, and that isn't going to help either, because it will interfere with how the door opens. So I'm just going to cut that line all the way off, including the little nubs. So now, instead of closing all the way, it's going to leave just a little bit of a gap, which will work to our advantage, because the extra width of this part of the door is going to close that gap, but still allow that to open, so you can get your mini doctor in there. He can actually go through there. Now, of course, these mini doctors are just a little too big for this particular size TARDIS, but he works just fine in this one. So if you make a smaller doctor, he'll actually fit inside this smaller gauge TARDIS. Is that a term? Smaller gauge of TARDIS? Anyway, so now I need to add the bottom panel and the top panel. The bottom panel, you'll notice it's going to fit exactly in there, whereas the bottom piece that we made crocheted is actually going to stick out all the way around. What that means is that this won't stay rigid. You're going to have to straighten it out anytime you mess with it, but it gives a cleaner look. You're not going to be seeing this mesh at all, because it'll be completely encased inside the TARDIS. So I'm going to go ahead and add both the top and the bottom, and to do that I actually like to kind of force that open just a little bit, and I'm going to lay the bottom piece. We're going to go all along here. Okay, so I'm layering the bottom piece, I like to start here and then like that. Okay, so we're leaving these open because they're going to match up with this side of the door. We're going to start here and work our way around. So just like we were doing. And of course you can leave your tail as long as you want it. I'm just going to leave it this long. And again, however you like to do this, you can leave it loose, or you can do like I do and pinch it so that the tension stays correct. It's going to be up to you, however you like to do it. And just like before, we're just whip stitching this in place. So I went through the first one twice, and then the second hole and the subsequent holes are going to be just once. And because I'm using a yarn that's long enough to go all the way around the perimeter, it probably will catch a little bit sometimes. Just be mindful of that and make sure you unhook it as necessary. Oops. Don't drop your needle. You can manipulate that tail to get it in the right spot. Now I'm at the corner, and I'm not going to fasten off and start again. Instead, I'm going to go through this one more time as if I were fastening off, but instead I'm going to keep going as I turn the corner. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of that tiny little bit of thread or yarn that's sticking out there. We don't need it. And I'm going to kind of manipulate this so that I can turn the corner. I'm coming out right there. I want to go back in to the same hole, but now I'm coming out the first hole of that first side. And I'm going to go through that same hole again. And that makes a very nice corner. Now I'm going to whip stitch all the way down until I get to the next corner, and then I'll do the next corner the same as I did with this corner, and that corner, and that corner will all be the same. And I'll meet right back up with you when I get that done. Alright, I'm on my next corner. I'm going to go through that one, or the corner there and there. I'm going to do it again through the same hole, same two holes. Then I'm going to turn the corner. I'm going to go through the same hole of the base, but through the first hole of the back wall. Like that. And then I'm going to go through it one more time, same two holes. Try not to split my yarn. And that just makes that corner nice and solid. Like that. And I'll do the same all the way around the rest of the perimeter. And when I get to the end, I'll show you how we finish off. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm on the last hole. Alright, I'm on my last hole of the door, but not the last hole of the base. And the reason, of course, is because we cut away that one row of this side door. And that was just to accommodate that overlap, get rid of it. So I've wrapped through that one twice, and to make this little section look like the rest of the section, I'm going to wrap that twice around, and then take my yarn and go under, or take my needle and go under the loops of the first door and pull it through. And it looks like I made a mistake right there and skipped one, but that's okay. You're not going to see that. There we go. Then I'm just going to snip that, and now I can put the top on in the exact same manner, hopefully without any mistakes, and then this base structure will be done. I'll meet back up with you when I'm ready to do the top pyramid shape. Alright, I've got the whole bottom structure finished, and you'll notice I took this out and redid it. What I did is I took it out from each side and tucked the ends in here and here, then started over and did this. And then when I did the top, I started here, worked my way around, and finished right there in that corner. It looks a lot nicer now, or at least I think so. Before it just kind of looked a little junky, and I didn't like it. So I changed it. But that's it. That's all I did. So now I need to make the top pyramid section. And once again, we go back to our mesh. And if you'll remember, this top square is 10 by 10 square, or 10 by 10 holes. So I need to make each side 10, but it needs to be in a triangle shape, a triangular shape here, to mimic that pyramid, slight pyramid shape we're going for. And then we also need to make some side panels so that this can pop up a bit. So first we'll make the triangle pieces, and the simplest way to do that is to count your 10 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So right here, snip it there. Okay, and snip the next one, because we're going to stair step. We're going to stair step over here as well. You'll probably be able to see it if I better on this side. So I need one here, and then I need to snip the next one, and then I need to snip. So if you can see that, it's making a stair step effect. And because this is an even number, the top step will be 2 squares rather than 1. I think it's right there. And I'm going to come back onto this side and snip that one. So I'm getting that nice stair step, sorry about the camera, stair step effect. And right here is the top of it. So when we add it to the next base we make, oops, sorry, it'll be tall enough. It'll sit not straight up and down, but at an angle, and all 4 of them will sit at that same angle. So you need to make 4 of these. And I'll be right back when I have that done. Alright, I've made the 4. And now I need to make the part of the structure that's going to be above. And it needs to be this height right here. I don't see my ruler, so we're just gonna kind of guess. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to cut 4 by 10s out of this sheet. One, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Go quite far enough. And I need 4 of those. So when I put them together, I'll have a short structure like this without the split on the bottom, and a stepped pyramid above it, like that. So I'll cut out the other 4 and then I'll show you how I put it together. Alright, now my 4 by 10s. And we know the 10 is right. We want to double check and make sure that the 4 is not too tall. So put it into the top of the TARDIS, up against that ridge on the inside. And that is actually going to stick out just a little bit. And I don't really want that. So I'm going to take off 1 row off of each of these 4 sides. So now we have 3 by 10s instead of 4 by 10s. And now we're ready to put the structure together. You can start anywhere you want. I'm just going to start with these long sides. They're very simple. We're going to sew right here along this short edge. And it's going to go just exactly as we did the bottom. So go twice through the first one, or first 2 holes, or the first hole of each of those. Being careful not to catch your yarn. Then go once through the middle hole. And twice through the end. Sorry for the bouncy camera there. And then trim your tail and take your needle and pass back under all those stitches just like we did before. Trim it off, and then you can do the next one and keep adding these until you form a square. I'll be right back. Okay, I've made that little square, and now I need to make the pyramid. And the pyramid is going to be made pretty much the same way. You're going to line 2 pieces up, and you're going to whip stitch up one side, and then do the next down the other side with the new piece. The only difference is how you have to stair step this. So go through the first hole, wrap around and do a second loop. Sorry, I got it caught there. Any of these little nubbins, I don't know what to call them, little nubs on the side will catch the yarn quite easily. And then once you've got that one, you actually need to do this one. So go through that same set of holes, but this time wrap this way, so up and over instead of around the side. And then you're going to need to go to the next set of holes going up around that way. And from here you can just stair step up. So you're going to go through this one again. And that finishes the wrap there. This one. You don't want to pull too tight on this because you won't be able to make it fold out. Unfold, that's what I'm trying to say. Unfold if you do. You want to keep it a little loose. Not too loose, but a little loose. And now that we're at the top, I'm going to wrap one more time, like that. And then I'm going to actually manipulate this so it can flare out just a little bit. And it doesn't have to be perfect once you attach here. This structure will actually make that structure work a little better. Go ahead and get rid of this tail. Boy, this camera. I am out to break it, I guess. Now I'm going to just sort of wrap this yarn like that until I get to the spot where it can go back down. Now there's probably a lot of other tutorials out there on how to make one of these, and if I can find one, I'll link it down below. I am not by any means an expert at plastic mesh structures. I just try to make sure that it's as neat as I can make it, and it fits the shape I'm trying to go for. Like I said, if I can find a pyramid tutorial out there in the internet somewhere, I will be sure to link it down below. So there I am at the end. And again, I gotta flare that out. And I'll be able to start again. I'll finish this off and then start again going up one side and down the other on the opposite side. I'll be back with you when I'm done. Alright. So now I've got this structure made. I'm going to make the pyramid that goes on top. These pieces, when put together, will sit like this on the top of the square structure that we made. So I've got fuzzies here. To make this this structure, you're actually going to just link the corners. Okay, so just like we have been doing, go ahead and go through the first set of holes twice, and then we're just going to stair step our way up from that corner to that corner. You don't want to pull too tight, just tight enough that it won't be super floppy. So I'm going through each set of holes twice, but making sure that the loop that is formed is sitting as close to the corner as I can make it. And I'm not cinching this down super hard. I don't want a lot of tension in this because it won't unfold if I do. So here I am at the top. I'm going to go around that one twice. Okay, and then that little tail there, we don't need it anymore. I'm going to wiggle that open, and so I can get to that spot, I'm just going to wrap around once, pick up my new piece. Sorry, I keep bumping that camera. Add on my new piece and go through the top hole of each of the pieces like that. And that doesn't look the way I want it to look, so let me undo that. Oh, that's my mistake. I meant to wrap here. There we go. Now I can continue on. So I pick up my next piece, and I'm coming out here. I'm going to wrap around the top of the one I've been working on and add in the new one. So I'm going to go through the top hole of the two, just like that. Wrap it again, just like I have been doing, trying to make it go and sit on the corner. Go to the next one. And again, I am not pulling down on this very hard because I need it to spread out. Now you're probably wondering, what in the world are you thinking? You are making this complicated. And maybe I am. If there's a better way out there on how to do this, I will link it in the description bar down below. But this, I know this works because I have done it on this previous TARDIS and on this guy too. So I know that this works. Okay, so I'm just finishing off that last loop right there, and now I can kind of, if it's too tight, I can go back and loosen that still because I haven't fastened it off yet. There we go. And that will sit like that. This one. Sit like that. And now I can fasten this off and insert the last piece right there. I'll be right back when I have that done. Okay, I finished building my pyramid. So now I am an Egyptian, or an Aztec, or a Mayan. And now I need to add top of the pyramid to the base that I made. And it's going to be just as if we added this to the side structure. Only difference is that this isn't going to lay flat. So just like we did before, go through the first hole on the bottom, and then the first hole on the first side. And just like before, I'm going to be going through those same 2 holes one more time. I'm trying to split the yarn there, and I don't really want to do that. It is a little fiddly right here at the beginning, but no, really fiddly if you do it wrong, like I just tried to do. Alright, I've made my structure, pyramid structure, and now I need to attach the pyramid to the base. And just like we did this one where we attached the top or the bottom to the sides, we're going to do it exactly the same way. The only difference is this is not going to lay flat like this did. So go through the first hole of one of the sides and go through the first hole of one of the pyramid sides and pull through. Give yourself a bit of a tail to hold on to, and wrap around and go through the same 2 holes. Hopefully you don't split the yarn like I keep trying to do. Okay. And this first bit is going to be a little fiddly, but once you get done with this first side, it really does straighten itself out and doesn't become a mess. You won't have to worry too much about it. So I've gone through the first hole twice, or first holes, and now I can just continue on just as I did before, going through the second hole on the side and the second hole on the pyramid side. And I'm going to whip these 2 together, these 2 sides, just as I've been doing all along, capturing the tail as I go. And now I'm on the last hole of the first side and the last hole of the pyramid side. I'm going to go through those set of holes twice. So I've wrapped once, now I'm going to wrap around so I get a nice end. And now I'm done with this beginning tail. If you want to, if you're worried about it not being strong enough or beefy enough or whatever word you decide to use, you can actually make the tail go wrap around the whole thing. I'm not going to. I think this thing is strong enough as it is. So my yarn's exiting there. I need to jump over and do the next the next side. So I'm here. I'm going to go into the hole of the next side on the bottom base, up through the first hole of the next pyramid side base, and I'm going to wrap that twice, just like I did before. And that has now jumped from here to here. And then I'm just going to wrap all the way around, just like I was doing. When I get to the corner, I'm going to make that corner look exactly the same as this one, that corner the same as the other two. And then when I get back to the end, I'll meet you up and we'll finish it off together. Alright, I've made it to the last set of holes on the last side. And just like I've done with everything else, I'm going to go through the set of holes twice, and then I'm going to just take my needle and run it underneath that last set of stitches I made. And now I can trim off the tail. So here is the pyramid, and I seem to have dropped. There he is. It will fit and help push out the top pyramid of the crocheted part, just like that. So that's how you make the structure. I am not going to attach this to this, and you'll see why if you watch the video where I show how I made the crochet part of all the crochet pieces for this. I'm going to be putting this whole thing together in that video, so look for that up in the eye or down in the cards, or up in the cards or down in the description box. I really do know what I'm saying. I'm a professional YouTuber. The finished piece, of course, will be at the end of this video. You'll see the end piece, of course, in the other video, but that's how I made the structure. And I want to thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!